That night, the family went to bed early. The storm continued all night. Next morning, they went into the library. The blood stain had reappeared on the floor. "I'll remove this blood stain once more," said Washington. "Mother doesn't want a blood stain in the library. I'll clean the floor again." He removed the blood stain with Pinkerton's stain remover. The library floor was clean, but the next morning, the stain had come back again. "This is very strange," said Mr. Otis. "I'll lock the library door at night. No one can come into the library. No one can put a stain on the floor." "I don't think Pinkerton's stain remover is bad," said Washington Otis. "I think there really is a ghost. The ghost is making the blood stain. The ghost puts the stain on the floor at night." "We must find this ghost," said Mr. Harambee Otis. "It must stop making these stains. Your mother does not like blood on the library floor." That day, the family went out. They walked around the countryside near Canterville Chase. They went to the nearby village. They looked at the old village houses. Then they walked back to Canterville Chase through the woods. It was a summer evening, and the weather was fine. It was late when they got back to the house. The Otises were hungry and tired. After eating supper, they went to bed. The bedrooms were upstairs. There was a long corridor upstairs. The bedroom doors were along this corridor. Mr. Otis woke up after midnight. There was a strange noise outside his room. The sound was like metal chains. The chains were rubbing together. Mr. Otis got out of bed and opened the bedroom door. He looked into the corridor. He saw the Canterville ghost in the corridor. The ghost was an old man with burning red eyes. He had long grey hair and wore very old-fashioned clothes. There were chains on his hands and feet. He was rubbing the chains together so they made a noise. "My dear sir, your chain makes a terrible noise," Mr. Otis said to the ghost. "You must put some oil on those chains." "Here is some Tammany Rising Sun oil from the United States. Please put the oil on your chains." Mr. Otis put a bottle of oil on a table in the corridor. Then he closed his bedroom door and went back to bed. The Canterville ghost was very surprised. He had lived in Canterville Chase for 300 years. Everyone was frightened of him, because everyone was afraid of ghosts. But this American gentleman was not afraid. The Canterville ghost decided to work harder. He wanted to frighten the American. He made a terrible noise and shone a horrible green light in the corridor. Another door opened at the end of the corridor. Mr. Otis's youngest sons came out of their bedroom. The two young boys had the pillows from their beds in their hands. They threw the pillows at the ghost. They laughed at the ghost. The ghost was amazed and upset. No one had laughed at him before. He was a ghost. Everyone is frightened of ghosts. No one had ever laughed at the Canterville ghost before. The Canterville ghost did not know what to do. He disappeared through the wall, and the house became quiet. The ghost went to the secret room where he lived. He sat down on a chair. He thought about what had happened. He had frightened people for 300 years. He had looked through windows and frightened the servants. He had knocked on bedroom doors. He had frightened people on their beds. He had blown out candles in the night. He had turned green and made noises with his chains. Everyone had always been frightened. No one had given him raisin oil to put on his chains. No one had thrown pillows at him. He was a very unhappy ghost. Washington Otis removed the blood stain in the library every day. Every morning the stain had reappeared, but the stain was no longer the color of blood. One morning it was brown, another morning it was purple. Then it became bright green. The Otises laughed at the blood stain. They looked for it every morning before breakfast. "What color is it today?" asked Washington Otis. "It's a green," shouted the twins. "It's a green blood today." They laughed at the green blood stain on the library floor. Virginia Otis did not laugh. The younger was silent at breakfast. The blood stain made her feel sad, and she almost cried when she saw the bright green stain. She was sure that the ghost put the stain on the floor. She felt sorry for the ghost. "The stain has been here for 300 years, said Virginia. "We have been here for 3 weeks. The poor ghost puts the stain on the floor every night. Can't you leave the stain there?" But the others did not listen to Virginia.